Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope this video can make it a little bit better for you. Today we're going to be talking about a modifier that started out as pretty annoying, but now it's actually one of my favorites whenever I see it in the nightmares or monthly challenges, and that being the Chronicle of Ruin. So I'm going to be trying to give you some strategies to turn what can be a very annoying modifier into one that's actually very powerful for you. Now, if you appreciate these different guides and daily videos, a like and subscribe is greatly appreciated, and let's get into it. So this Chronicle of Ruin modifier, round start, kill all units, then revive them. This can be really annoying, especially if you're just trying to play this normally, because you can often struggle to kill enemy units because you might get them a little bit lower, but then this kills them, revives them back at full health, and so it can be very difficult to get some enemies off the board, especially some big enemy champions. And just overall, playing around this modifier can be pretty annoying unless you're using one of the correct champions or correct builds. So let's get into some of the key builds and champions that make this modifier very, very easy. So my go-to strategy every time I see this modifier is this Teemo build right here, and especially the Guardian Angel is super key on anyone you're trying to go up against this with, because this has start adventures with 1 extra revive. Nice, but shouldn't really matter. But then last breath, if it's the first time I've been slain this game, revive me with 1 health. So the way this works with this modifier is the modifier kills Teemo, that triggers the Guardian Angel, reviving him, but then the modifier also revives Teemo, so you just had 1, and now you have 2 of them. If you have 2 Guardian Angels, you go from 1 Teemo to 3. And while the Teemo that gets revived by the Guardian Angel doesn't have this effect anymore, the Teemo that gets revived from the modifier does still have this last breath effect ready, so you can just essentially print an army of Teemos or whatever your chosen champion is right away. Now, it's great to pair this with the Star Gem, because allied champions have 1/1 and cost 2 less. Now, every single Teemo all has this gem, each one of them buffing up all of the Teemos by that 1/1 or any other champion. So you not only get an army of Teemos on the board, they're also all scaling each other up. So now you have a 1-cost elusive unit that's getting pretty big. They're all attacking, all planting these poison puff caps, and it turns a champion that sadly right now is one of the worst in the game, and with this modifier makes him incredibly deadly. Now, if you don't have the double Guardian Angel, you can go for a single Guardian Angel and another Star Gem if you can, but anytime I see this modifier in the monthly challenges, this is normally the build I go for, and it absolutely destroys. Even like a month or 2 ago, we had this modifier in the final 10, still pulled out this build with Teemo, easily demolished it. So this is a build that is very, very good, but not necessarily the best build. I normally use it because otherwise Teemo is pretty useless in a lot of the content in the game currently, but he really shines here. What I think is probably the best build is Annie right here. So you're going for a single Guardian Angel, a Dreadway Chase Gun, and a Luden's Tempest. This works great because with the Luden's Tempest, every single Annie that gets summoned technically has one of these, and so they're all increasing your damage by an extra 1. Each one of them is also summoning or triggering with the Dreadway Chase Gun, making 2 warning shots per Annie. And so you just end up with a bunch of Annies, all giving you increased damage, and then all generating these Chase Guns to just nuke a ton of damage. They don't even need to attack, although you definitely can, and just does so much damage. So another strategy, if maybe you didn't have like the Star Gem and you still wanted someone to be able to use this is another build that is super good. Now, technically, you could use this build on anyone. It's best with Annie because she already has the increased damage from her star powers, but either going for this build or going for the Teemo build, it can work on anyone. Annie and Teemo are 2 of my favorites. For one, they're both 1 costs, so you can get them on the board turn 1. And then Annie synergizes with this better because of her star powers. And then for Teemo, having an elusive that's able to plant a ton of puff caps is really, really good. But then also Teemo is kind of useless in a lot of the other content in the monthly challenges. With Annie though, even though I think she is stronger than Teemo, she can actually be quite strong. And so if you're someone that doesn't have an account that's as maxed out, there's plenty of other challenges you could use Annie for. But if you're probably not going to use Annie for anywhere else, she's also very good for this modifier. Now, if you maybe either don't have Guardian Angel and none of these builds are working for you, we'll try to give you some suggestions of champions that just in general synergize with this modifier fairly well. I think going for the Guardian Angel build is better, but these are some champions that can still make it work. So up first we have Gwen. With her, all of her units or most of her units have that hallowed keyword, so when they die they're giving you that stacking buff of hallowed when you attack. So them getting killed and revived, not too bad for you. It's normally just helping your scaling. Lilia with her star powers has it so that when you summon a unit without playing it, they get scaled up. As you can see right here, when you summon a unit without playing it, granted spirit twice. So this is able to scale and trigger from that remitter, from that power, killing them and reviving them. So for Lilia, also not too bad with it. Vex, if you have her at 4 stars, can be very good because the damaging effect can trigger with the explosive finale. Or at least I'm pretty sure this still works. If not, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But pretty sure this still works, that when an enemy dies outside of combat, deal 4 damage to the enemy nexus. This triggers off the remitter, so every single round they're just essentially killing themselves by killing all their units. So Vex, you can just sit back and do almost nothing and you'll still win, which is pretty hilarious. Granted, with Vex, there's normally better place or other places you can play her, but still it's pretty funny. And then last up, we have Thrash Love his Constellation, but right here, grant a random ally 1/1 for each ally that died last round, as well as all their keywords. So by your units all being killed and then revived, you're getting to trigger this many times and just scaling up your units a massive amount, which can be pretty good, as well as giving you all the keywords that the enemy maybe had as well. So not too bad right there. Then your 2-star costs 1 less for each ally that died this game. So Thresh scales very well with units and allies dying. So he's another one that does pretty well with this modifier. All right, that's it for this guide, trying to give you some helpful tips for whenever you see the Chronicle of Ruin. I know in some of the first monthlies, when we hadn't figured out some of these strategies, this was always a pain to see, but now I get excited every time I see it because I know the game is pretty much a guaranteed win. I think it is a great modifier, one that can be super difficult, but once you know how to play around it, it is very, very fun. So I hope this helped you out. I hope you never have to struggle with this modifier ever again and get excited every time you see it. If it did help you, a like and subscribe is greatly appreciated, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.